Okay, so welcome back, and now today we are going to see further development in the programming part. So remember, right? So if you want to create a program, you have to go to SE38 transaction from the beginning screen, and here you have to give some name. Yesterday we have created some two programs. So in the last program, what we have done is we try to learn how to use the right keyword, how to use the data keyword, how to use the parameters and different data types. So these things what we saw yesterday, and today what we'll do is we'll try to learn formatting options. Today's topic is formatting. Formatting means if you are displaying some output, so how you can display in the required place in the output screen. Sometimes you may need to display something on the left hand side, something you may need to display some content on the right hand side of the screen. Sometimes maybe you need to display one line below which another line should be there. So all these kinds of formattings we'll see. What I will do is I'll declare two parameters here. Parameters, some name, the variable name, the memory location name itself is a name which can store 20 characters, and salary is another variable which is type integer. There are two parameters I have declared. Now I am trying to provide a name, maybe some name here, and salary. Salary I'll provide something over here. And if you observe what happening when I am typing characters, so this is a type C, name is of type C, character. So when the data type is character, when I am typing on my keyboard, the letters are starting from left hand side and moving towards the right hand side. For example, if you see from left hand side to right hand side, whereas I'm typing some integers, then the cursor movement is there from right hand side to left hand side. So SAP by default aligns all the characters onto the left hand side and all the integers or all the numerics or numbers onto the right hand side. Generally all the numbers, say when you are calculating or when you are summing up the numbers or when you are performing some operations with the numbers, when the numbers are right aligned, it will be much easier for us to do the calculations, right? So that's why SAP has also done it by default. So if you want to write these two things in the output, how you will write it? You have to use the write statement. Because there are more than one variable is there, you have to put a column, then variable, first variable, comma, second variable. So I'm writing these two things in the output. Save, check, activate. Execute. Now you can see here the name is coming, here the salary is coming. Now I want to display a background color for these two names. So then there is a keyword called color. So how to put a color for a name and salary, background color. After name, you say this keyword color, and there are 7 colors. Each color is represented with a number. If I say color 1, It seems yellow. I didn't remember the which number gives which color, but color 1 means maybe yellow, color 2 means maybe orange, color 3 means red or something like that. From 1 to 7 there are different colors are there. So I will give name color 1 and salary color 7. So there are 7 colors available. Now you can see how it appears. Save, check, activate and execute. You can see here up to here 20 characters. 20 characters, background color is some blue, and here this integer 70,000 is displaying with some other color. Now my requirement is I want to display this 70,000 below the line of this Raju. I want to move into the next line. How can I do? Always make use of slash. Slash is a new line character. So when you give a slash, whatever is available after slash will be given to the next line. Now I'll save, check, activate. Execute. So now you can see this is coming on the first line. The second, the amount field is coming in the second line. So now, for example, you got some scenario wherein you want to print 2 lines, like the salary I don't want in the immediate next line, wherein I want 1 more line gap, and then I want. So can I put 2 slashes? If I want a 2 lines gap, can I put 2 lines, 2 slashes here? Otherwise, if I want to go in a new line, for example, name in the first line I want to print, and then can I write something like this? 2 write statements if I give, whether it is going to print in a 2 different lines or a single line. If I say name, see line number 13, I am printing name. Line number 14, I am printing salary. Then whether it will print in 2 different lines or it will print in a same line. Let us see. So it is printing on the same line, even though if you give 2 different write statements, even though if you have 2 different write statements, until and unless you give this slash, it is printing on the same line. So if you give this slash, then only your output, the next output will be going to the next line. So now I will save, check, activate. Because I have given the slash, it will go and print in the next line. So now what my question is, not on the immediate next line, I want to print this after 4 lines. For example, how can I print? Will you give 4 slashes? Tomorrow if you want to print salary after 10 lines, will you give 10 slashes? No, right? So for that there is a command, there is a keyword. The keyword name is skip. The keyword name is skip. Between 2 write statements, you can say skip 4. That means skip 4 lines, leave 4 blanks, and then write the salary. So that is what the skip keyword is. Now I will execute. Name, salary, and execute here. So here you can see it has left 4 blank lines. So tomorrow if you want 100 blank lines, so just mention skip 100, and easily the next line will move into that many number of lines. Okay, the next one is, I already told you, when you are entering a name, characters are always left justified, left aligned, and numbers are always right justified. By default in SAP always it is like this. Even in the output also you can see characters are always left justified and numbers are always right justified. But say for example tomorrow somebody asked you, that means the customer asked you to display characters on the right hand side. Maybe he asked a number to display on the left hand side. Usually it will not happen, but in case you got a situation to do like this, then how can you do this? There are some keywords for this. For example, if you say name, generally name is character, so it should be left justified, but I want to make it right justified. So right justified is a keyword. If you give this after the variable, that particular variable will be right justified. Similarly, salary, generally integer, it is right justified, but if you want to make it a left justified, you can still do it left justified. So remember these keywords, right justified, left justified. And there is another keyword called centered. So now before going to the center, let us see how the output looks like. See, now the Raju is coming on the right side of the 20 characters. This is salary is coming on the left side. And remember, this is coming on the right side of the 20 characters, not onto the complete screen. See, the screen is totally big. It is not right justified to the complete screen. It is right justified on the particular variable. See, this Raju is storing in this variable name. So this name is having a space to store 20 characters. Among these 20 characters, whatever the value you give, for example that Raju, that is right justified. So remember that. In case if you want to put on a center, centered is the keyword. So now Raju will come in the center of 20 characters. You can see here. So it is in the center, in the middle of the 20 characters. For example, sometimes what requirement I'll get is not immediately, you see here, immediately it is starting the output. So this Raju or this blue color line, whatever it may be, the variable, I want to print it somewhere in the middle of the screen here. How to do this? What you can do is, before the variable, give some number. For example, if I give 30 or something over here, then system will try to leave 30 spaces and then print the variable. So 30 spaces, it will print the name. It will skip 4 lines. After that, maybe I'll give some 40 spaces blank and then I will print the salary. Let us see how the output looks like. What 30 means, what 40 means here. Here you can see some 30 spaces gap is coming up, and then this variable. Here you can see a 40 spaces gap is coming up, then it is printing the number. So now you know how to move your variables horizontally, how to move vertically. In case if you want to move vertically downwards, then make use of skip keyword. If you use a skip, so your 2 different output lines can be moved down or vertically. If you want to move it horizontally, you can make use of this numbering 30 or 40 or whatever. So those many places will be left over. So these are various formatting options. Now slowly we will go towards conditional statements. Generally, any programming language will have some conditional statements such as if condition, something like a if else condition, if else if ladder, a case statement or switch statement. So all these kind of statements will be available in any programming languages, which are called as conditional statements. So now in the next program we are going to see how to work with different conditions. So in this program I will try to work on condition statements. I'll say a parameters num1 type character, num2 type character. So there are two numbers for me. For example, the user will enter some number, so I forgot to give the length here. So I will give otherwise, say here, otherwise I will make it type I. I will make two integers it is. So for integers no need to give the length in a brackets, right? So it will take the length by default. Yesterday we discussed. So I'll give here the number some 30, here I'll give some 40. In the output of the program, I want to print the big number, greatest number among these two. User may give here 30, here 40, otherwise end user may give here 50 and here 40. But what we want to do, we want to print the biggest number among these two, among num1 and num2, whichever is the biggest one, that I want to print in the output. So how to do this? We have to use the if condition. This is called a conditional statement. If condition, if number 1 is greater than number 2, then write number 1. If this condition fails, else write num2. So your program, you have to do if condition, you have to use if condition like this. If condition will always have and if. If the if condition fails, so for example in this case, if num1 is not greater, obviously num2 is greater. So if num1 is greater, you are writing number 1 in the output. Otherwise you are writing number 2 in the output. I'll say check activate. Let us see the result. So now the expected result is 50. In this case, if I give something or more greater value on num1, the expected result is 130. So if condition should be used like this. Sometimes what will happen, maybe I'll create a new program to explain if else if ladder. There is something called if else if ladder. What is this if else if ladder? I want to create a small program wherein user will give an input as a number. For example, he will enter 1 or 2 or 3, and in the output I want to display the spelling of the particular number. So if he puts 1 in the input screen, in the output I want to display ONE. If he inputs a 2 in the input screen, TWO2 I want to put in a screen. So in that case, I will declare a parameter to enter to enter the value of the input. So I will say num1 type C. User will enter either 1 or 2 or 3 up to 9 he will enter. So in this case what I'll do, if num is equal to 1, I'll say write ONE. Else if num is equal to 2, I'll say write TWO 2. Else if num equal to 3, I'll say write 3, and so on. So you can write any kind of else if conditions. Finally you say else if nothing is correct, then write unknown number. If should always have end if. If you are writing any if condition, if you are starting an if condition should have an end if condition. So first, for example, in this program, when you provide some input value, say here I will give number 2 here. So when I give number 2, what will happen? So it is printing 2. So how come? So first it checks this condition. So the 2 equal to 1, no, this condition fails. So then it checks this condition, else if 2 equal to 2, yes, this condition is satisfied. So it will print the line number, write 2. Then it comes out. So once a else if condition is executed, that means this condition is satisfied, it will not check for other conditions. But until a condition gets satisfied, in case in the input, if I have given 3, it could have checked this, then it could have checked this, and then it will come here, and then it will write 3, and so on. So until and unless the condition satisfies, for example, here I will give some percentage. So it is saying unknown number. So I hope you got the concept of if else if ladder. So you can use any kind of if else if combination. This is called if else if ladder, and the same purpose can be achieved with case statement. So what is one more keyword called case? Instead of using if else if condition, I can also use a case syntax. So the same thing, I will comment it here. How to comment? I told you that whatever the lines are starting with a star, those lines are commented lines, they will not work. So even though something you have written, if the line is starting with a star, so they will not work further. So I will say here case num, you have to write something like this: when one, write ONE. When 2, write TWO. When 3, write THRE. When others, write, what do you have to say? Unknown number. Case should always have end case. See, if condition always has an end if. Case should always have end case. Now I'll save it, check it, activate it. Now try to execute. Here if I give some 3 over here, so I am getting 3 in the output. if I am giving some unknown number, for example, in this case, if I give 8, in the case statement we have not written 8, so it will say it's an unknown number. So whatever you can do with the if else if, you can also do with the case syntax. Performance wise, case is much better when compared to if else if condition. So if you want to execute your program faster, always use case and case syntax instead of if else if syntax. Why the performance is more? Because say for example you have given number 3. In the if statement what will happen? It will check whether this condition is true. No. This condition is true. No. Again it will come here. So it is taking some time to check this condition and this condition and so on. But in case statement, when case 3, it directly comes to the when 3 condition and it prints the right statement. So in that way, it will optimize the time and your program performance will be more. So prefer always using a case instead of if else if. So in the next program, we are trying to see some looping statements in SAP. Looping statements. What is this looping statements? Sometimes what will happen, we need to do a work repeatedly. For example, I want to print a same number 10 times. How can I do that? Let us see. There are two looping statements. One is called a do loop and another one is called while loop in ABAP. So do loop and while loop are supported in ABAP. I will declare one variable parameter num type integer. So this is a variable I have declared. For example, in this variable I will give some value. So in this variable, in this number, I will give some value 20. So this 20 I want to write in the output. How will I display in the output? Generally, I will say write num. So if I say write num, 20 will be displayed in the output. But how many times? Only one time it will be displayed in the output. 20 will be displayed one time in your output. Sometimes what will happen, the same variable you have to display again and again and again. So in that case, what you can do is you can make use of do, for example, 2 times. Do always has end do. So any syntaxes, if has a end if, case has end case, similarly do has end do. So how many times we are doing this? Write number. We are 2 times we are writing this number. Okay, so I will put a slash here so that every time it will print in a new line. Otherwise what will happen, on the same line it is printing 2 times. So you will not get clarity whether it is printing 2 times or not. So now I am giving a new line here. So do 2 times now. So let us see how it is printing, whether it is printing the number 2 times or not. So now here I'll give 20. It should print 22 times. So you are getting 2 times. So if you say do 5 times, it will print 5 times. So now what I'll do, here I will say, I'm adding one more statement. Num is equal to num plus 1. So this statement is called incrementing statement. So what happening? When I give some value in this num, first time it will print the same number. For example, in this number I have given a 20. So first time 20 will be printed. After that 20 will be added with 1. The 21 will be stored in this. So next time when the loop repeats, it will write 21. So first time when the loop is repeating, it will write 20. Second time when the loop repeats, it writes 21. And if the loop is repeating further, say if the loop is repeating 5 times, first time it write 20, second time 21, third time 22, fourth time 24, and so on. So it will increment the value each and every time, and it will try to print. Let us see how it looks. So now if I give 20 here, you're getting 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. But if you give some 1 over here, then it will increment the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So let us try to debug this and see how it is working. How to debug a program and what is debugging. Whenever you want to analyze how the program is working in the runtime, you can have an option of debugging and see how the source code is working inside. So to debug a program, instead of executing normally, what you can do is after giving the input in the command prompt, give /h, put a /h, press enter. When you press enter, in the status bar you can see debugging is switched on. Now click execute. Your debugging screen is opening, which is showing you the source code. Here you have a cursor. So here the small yellow color arrow you can see. This is showing where exactly the cursor is. Now when I click this next step, when I click on this button, it is going to this step, do 5 times. So we are doing for the first time. So we have entered in the loop for the first time now. So when I am entered in the first time in the loop, what is there in the number? I have 1, because in the parameters I have given 1 in the number. So you can see the value here. So then I am writing the number in the output. So when I say write num, so this whatever is there in this number, that is written in the output. So then after that what I am doing, 1 plus 1 I have added, and I have given that sum to this variable. So this 1 plus 1 is added and given to the num. So after this step, in this num I will get a value 2. See, I am getting value 2 over here. Now see, the loop is again repeating for the second time. When the loop is repeating for the second time, what is there in the num? It has a value 2. So it will write 2. And now 2 is added with 1. So that is total 3. So now when I click F5, 3 will be available in number. Now we are going for the third time. So when I am going for the third time, what is there in this num? 3 is there. So 3 will be printed in your output. 3 becomes 4. 4 will be printed. 4 becomes 5. 5 will be printed, and so on. Say here if you give 1000, up to 1000 numbers you will print, and then you will come out. Okay, so this is how your output is printed. Here if I give num equal to num minus 1, then what could have happened? Because I have given plus 1, every time it is adding 1, 1, 1 and it is printing. If I give 20, then 21, 22, 23, 24 is getting printed. If I have given minus here, then 20, 19, 18, 17, that could have printed. So try writing a program. So in the screen I will give some number, maybe 10 or 20 or whatever. So I want to print the numbers up to 1, say in the output. For example, in the screen if I give 20, in my output I want so first I should get 20, then 19, then 18, and so on. All the values I'm not until 1. So try writing a program yourself now, and do this exercise. So once you have done this, if you are able to do this, you can feel comfortable with looping. Do looping. The next looping statement is while loop. There are two loops I told you. ABAP will support two looping statements. One is called do looping, another one is called while loop. So how to work with a while loop? I'll comment this do loop and I will use while loop. While always has end while. While should always expect a condition from you. Say for example, if something is greater than something like that, always for the while loop you have to provide a condition. If so you can say while number is less than or equal to 10, write number equal to number plus 1. For example, I have written a program like this. What is the meaning of this? For example, in the input selection screen, I have given here 5, some value, some 5 here I have given. So in the number, what is there? In the number 5 is there. So this while condition says number less than or equal to 10, whether this number means what? 5 less than or equal to 10, whether this condition is satisfied. 5 less than or equal to 10, yes. If this condition satisfies, it will execute the statements inside. If this condition not satisfied, say for example in the input screen you have given a 20, so then what will be the value here? 20 less than or equal to 10. This condition is not satisfied, so it will not execute the code which is inside. So it will execute after end while. If you write some code, that code will be executed. The inside code, if you want to execute the code which is inside, the condition must be satisfied, what you are giving here. So for example, if you are given a 5, then 5 less than or equal to 10, condition satisfied, then what will be written in the output? In the output 5 will be written. Then 5 plus 1, 6. 6 will be stored in this memory location num. So now again the while loop repeats. Again it checks 6 less than 10, yes. So it will print 6 in the output again, and 6 will become added with 1. So now it will become 7. Now again it will check 7 less than or equal to 10. If yes, it prints a 7, and so on. Finally, there will be some time where it will check 10 less than or equal to 10. Yes, equal to is there here. So we are comparing with equal sign. So if the value is 10 here, then also it prints a 10. Then 10 becomes 11. Then it will check again 11 less than or equal to 10. No, the condition fails. Then it will come out of the loop. So this is how this while statement will get executed. And I will provide a new line character so that every time the number will be printed in the new line. If I give 5, I should get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. After that what happened? 10 becomes 11, and while condition is checking 11 less than or equal to 10. The condition fails, so it stops printing further. So this is your while condition. So any questions? in this looping statements, do loop and while loop. The only difference between a do loop and while loop is, for do loop, no need to give any condition. There is this kind of condition you are not giving. But for while loop, you have to provide a condition. That's the only difference.
Harim, can I do debugging once?
Yeah, we'll do debugging for this. How to do debugging? Go to your screen, provide some value here. This is the input screen where you are providing the inputs. Go to that particular screen and then press input screen, provide the input and then press /h. Press enter, /h, press enter and then execute. Then click on F5. So now your cursor is coming here. That means it is checking the condition. Num, what you have given? You have given 7 in the selection screen. Yeah, this is source code. So this 7 less than or equal to 10, condition satisfied or not? Yes, satisfied. Because condition satisfied, it will go inside while and it will write 7. The write num means what is there in num? 7. So it will write 7 in the output. So then after writing, 7 becomes 7 plus 1, that becomes 8. 8 will be stored in this variable. So when I click F5, now you can see 8 is stored in this num. Then it is once again checking 8 is less than or equal to 10. Yes, 8 also less than or equal to 10. So again it is going, and in the output 8 is also getting printed, and after that it is adding 1 to 8. 8 becomes 9. So after this step 8 becomes 9 because we have added 1 to the 8. So then it is checking 9 is less than or equal to 10. Yes. So 9 is printed. 9 becomes 10. It is checking 10 less than or equal to 10 because we have a equal sign. Because 10 equal to 10, the condition satisfied here. It is printing 10 in the output. 10 becomes 11. Now once again it is checking 11 less than or equal to 10. No, the condition fails. When the condition fails, it will go to the end while and it will come out of that.
What is this second icon, Rob?
There are something called first icon is step-by-step execution.
Okay.
F5, yes. And second icon is block execution. We will see that when we go and write some block of code, something like modularization techniques when we discuss, something like subroutines, something like function modules, we are going to discuss that further. When we have such kind of blocks we want to execute, then we'll click on the second button, that is called F6.
Okay.
And third one is like when you want to come out of a particular block, the third one. But don't worry about all those buttons right now because we are in the beginning stage. So we will try to debug more and more. Then while going further, I will definitely show you what are all those buttons.
Okay.
Yes. So in the debugging, what generally we will try to find is we will try to see the source code line by line and in which variable what value is there. So step by step source code evaluation we will do. Any other questions for me? Yes. Say for example, the question is, in case if you are not getting output, then the condition is getting false in this case. Yes, obviously, because for example, in this scenario, if I give the input as a 30, you will not get any output because the 30 is here what the condition we have given, 30 greater than or equal to 10, this condition is failing. So obviously these statements will not work. You will not get the output. Yeah, what you can do is the debugging procedure is same. You give here 30, put /h, then execute and see how the control goes. So here click on this button. So here what you have given in the number 30. 30 is greater than or equal to less than or equal to 10. The condition fails. By looking into this value, you can understand that this condition is failing. So obviously these lines will not execute. Where the cursor goes, when you click F5, it is not going inside line number 19 and 20. It is directly coming to line number 21. So that means it is not executing any code inside. So it will not print the output. No, you cannot. You cannot. Here you can see only the value. Yeah. So whether it is satisfying the condition or not, that you have to decide. That is a human judgment you have to make. But so the question here is like in SAP standard transactions, if we provide some values in SAP standard transactions, also there are some programs in the background. Say for example, there are so many SAP standard transactions to create a sales order, to create a purchase order, to create material. So in all these transactions, we'll provide some value. Then based on that value, some data is getting populated. So in that case also the debugging, same kind of debugging can be done. Yes, you can try debugging for SAP standard transactions also in the same way. But this is very beginning stage for you to discuss this. We will go further and we will evaluate. Fine. So then the next program, we'll go for the next one. So in this program we are going to learn about string operations. So now you are comfortable adding two numbers, like you have two parameters, then you have one variable in a data statement. Adding two numbers we have already discussed yesterday. So I hope you are comfortable for adding two numbers. But how to add two characters? For example, parameters, some variable 1 is there in which can hold of length 10, type character. In another variable 2 is there which can hold another 10 characters, type C. So there are two variables. So here I will say SAP, here I will say ABAP. So there are these two different variables which are not numbers, which are characters. So now I want to put these two variables in another variable and write it in the output. So how to do that? Declare another variable here, data variable 3, which can hold 20 characters, type C. And now the syntax or the keyword to put these two variables together is, you can say concatenate variable 1, variable 2 and put it into variable 3. So this is your syntax. So whatever you give in variable 1, whatever you give in a variable 2, both should be concatenated. Concatenated means put together, and it will be given to variable 3. And then as it is, write variable 3. So now let us see how the output looks like. I will say here SAP, I will say here ABAP. So these two will be concatenated, put together, and it will be written. So SAP ABAP is your output. So whenever you have two strings or two characters you want to put together, use concatenate. not only 2, you can concatenate n number of variables. Tomorrow you have variable 1, variable 2, another variable in the parameter, variable 3. All the 3 you can concatenate, put it in a fourth variable. In case of characters and strings. In case of numbers, you can anyway, you can do the arithmetic operations. You can say num3 equal to num1 plus num2. That we have already seen. So, for example, I want to separate these variables with some hyphen. For example, SAP hyphen above. That's what I want to get. So, how can I separate it? So, put a hyphen in between variable 1, in between single quotes, put a hyphen, then variable 2, and concatenate all these 3, put it into variable 3. So, what I meant to say is, in variable 1, I will give SAP. In variable 2, I will give ABAP. But what is the syntax we have written? SAP hyphen ABAP, all these 3 we will put together in variable 3. So now when I execute, I will get SAP hyphen ABAP. Instead of hyphen, you put percentage here in between single quotes, SAP percentage ABAP will come. So whatever you put in between single quotes, that will come. Okay. And one more point is, if I give a space over here, SAP space ABAP should come. Is it will come or not? Let us see. In the single quotes, I have given a space. Whether it will show a space in the output? It's not showing. If you want a space, the syntax is concatenate variable 1, variable 2, variable 3 and so on. Put it into another variable separated by space. This is the syntax. So now here I'll say SAP ABAP. So now both should be separated with a space. So this is what about your concatenate statement. Concatenate means to put together different character variables. Next keyword which we are going to learn is split. Now we learned how to put together. Now we will learn how to split it. Assume I have a variable in the input. So this is one variable which is having of length 20, type character. So all the string operations what we are discussing now, these can be performed on either characters or strings, remember. So here I'll give SAP hyphen ABAP. Okay. So here I want to split where hyphen is there. So in my input I know that there is a hyphen or there is some SAP ampersand ABAP. I know that these two things SAP and ABAP are separated with some special character, sometimes colon or comma. Sometimes what will happen, you will give a input files, flat files which are separated with commas. So in that case generally how to make sure how to split the content. So I have SAP comma ABAP comma program, for example, something like this, it is there. How can I split it in the program and display in the output? Now how many variables I need to split this? 3 variables I need. because SAP will go into one variable, ABAP will go into another, program will go into another, 3 variables. So I have to declare 3 variables here. Data, variable 2, which is having a length some 20 type C. Here I am declaring with more length. If you want, you can declare with less length. So variable 3 of length 20 type C. Variable 4 of length 20 type C. I have declared 3 variables. Now what I want to do, split variable 1, put it, so where to split? At comma. I know that there is a comma. Comma is a separator between SAP, ABAP and program. So split the variable 1 at comma, and after splitting put it into variable 2, variable 3, variable 4, and after splitting write variable 2 in the first line. In the next line write variable 3. In the next line write variable 4. Let us see how it looks. So here I will say SAP ABAP program. So first line it is writing variable 2 which is having SAP, variable 3 which is having ABAP, variable 4 which is having program. So for example, these are separated with a hyphen. These are separated with hyphen. Then instead of comma here, you have to put a hyphen here. But remember guys, the split you can use only if you know how exactly the input value is given. So tomorrow you may get some case where one variable is separated with comma, another variable is another thing is separated with hyphen. So your split statement will not correctly handle this kind of strings. We will see what to do in this case further. But when you have a proper strings with a proper separators, and you know what is a separator, whether it is a comma or a hyphen, what is the particular separator, then only you can make use of split syntax. Any questions here, or shall we go to the next syntax and next keyword? Shall we go to the next one? There is next keyword called replace. So we'll see what is a replace. I have a variable, or I have name whose length is 20 type C, and I will say replace, for example, GAN with RAM in name. Let us say, let me finish, then I will explain what exactly I am doing, and then write name. So here in the input I will give Ganesh. In the output I am getting Ramesh. So let us say what the syntax is. In the input I am giving Ganesh. So here I am replacing GAN with RAM. So what happening? The GAN is gone, and in that place RAM has came, and Ganesh become Ramesh. So I hope you understand what this replace syntax is doing, right? So for example, I will comment this line. I will write a new syntax. I will say replace A with B into name. So here I will say SAP ABAP. This is my input. What is the syntax I have given? Replace A with B. So what is the expected output? SBP BBBP. Is it, or you are expecting something else? You can chart. You can send me your expected value in the chat box, or you can directly tell to me. So my value, my expected value is SBP BBBP. Are you able to understand or getting lost?
Yeah, yes. Yes, it will replace with A.
A should replace with B. So, but the thing is, see what the program is doing. Program is doing little bit different. Program is understanding little bit differently, and see what is the output. SBP, ABAP. So what it is doing? Only the first A is replacing with B. Not all A's are replacing with B. So only the first occurrence of A is replacing with B. But if you want to replace all A's into B, if you want to replace all A's into B, then the syntax is little bit different. So the syntax is replace all occurrences of A in name with B. This is the syntax. So now your expected output will come SBP, BBBP. That will come now. Let us see whether it is coming or not. Okay. So the next keyword, next syntax we are going to see is translate.
So Ram, can we use this syntax everywhere, like in repos and smartphones everywhere?
Yes. That's why I'm concentrating on all these basics, because tomorrow when you are developing programs, somewhere you will be getting into these keywords. Or tomorrow when you are debugging some SAP standard transactions, somewhere suddenly you will find out some replace statement. Somewhere suddenly you find out some split syntax. So at that time, in the debugging, you need to understand what this split is doing. Or at the time of development, you sometimes what will happen? You need to upload some data into SAP where the file is coming up with the comma separator. So you should split the comma separated file into different fields, and then you need to update the data. So in that case, you need to use a split statement and so on. So yeah, there are uses of this particular keywords. So try to practice them. Once you are practicing, then you will be comfortable with the next level of programming. Okay, then let us go to the next one, that is translate, what we are discussing. I'll say parameters P underscore name type C, write some P underscore name. P underscore name is what? It's a variable, right? I should specify the length of it. If I don't specify the length, it will assume the length as 1. I'll specify length as 20. Execute. Name. In the name, I will give SAP ABAP. See, I'm giving in a smaller case letters. These letters are smaller, but when I press enter, what SAP is doing, the smaller case letters are converted into uppercase. When I execute, it is printing the output in a uppercase. Always what SAP will do is, when you give some input, it is in the smaller letters also, if you give, it will always try to convert it into uppercase and then it will try to print in the output. But still you have a requirement to print in the lowercase itself. Then what you can do is, you can say translate P underscore name using, not using, sorry, no, not with I forget the syntax. Q to lowercase. So this is the syntax. Translate the variable to the lowercase and then after that write the variable. So now here I will say, even though if I give in capital letters, it will translate into lowercase. Your output will be in lowercase. Similarly, you can translate to uppercase in case sometimes what will happen, the variable is in lowercase letter. You can also transfer it into uppercase letter and you can print in the output. There is one more keyword called shift. So I'll say parameters, some name, P underscore name or some variable of length 10, type C. I'll say write P underscore name with some color for any colors. I told you, like 1 to 7, any number we can give in the background. Then I will say shift P underscore name by 2 places. Then I will say write once again the same variable P underscore name. First what I have done, I have written the variable as it is. Then what I have done, after writing, I have shifted 2 places. Then I am writing once again to see the difference. So when I am writing the second time, I will put it in a new line. So when I am writing second time, I will give a new line character, activate now and execute. SAP ABAP again, the input I am executing. First time you can see SAP ABAP is coming. Second time P ABAP is coming. That means it is shifted 2 places onto the left hand side. SA are shifted, this SA 2 places. These 2 places are shifted to the left hand side and now you are getting only P ABAP. In case if you say shift P underscore name right by 2 places, Then you can see after two places, SAP ABAP. If I say shift SAP ABAP right by 5 places or 6 places, then what will happen? What output is expected? After shifting, what will be there? Because the variable length is only 10 characters. It has already shifted 6 places. Then it has a SAP space. After that, to put ABAP, there is no more space. So ABAP is not there. So it's already shifted. So this is how your shift syntax will work. For example, you want to remove the gap. So whatever the spaces are there, you want to remove the spaces. Sometimes you will get a requirement. See here what happening. After shifting, I am getting 6 places blank and then SAP and then blank I am getting. So I want to remove that blank. If you want to remove blank spaces in a variable, you can say write p underscore name no gap. There is one more syntax called condense. You can also make use of this condense p underscore name no gaps. So you can either do like this or like that. So condense with no gaps is a syntax to remove the spaces. So now SAP ABAP I am giving. First it has written as it is, after that it has shifted, and then after that it's removed all the spaces it has removed and it has written the output. So these are all the various statements. So today I hope we have discussed many things. So basic programming formatting options. I will send you all those documents to you by mail. Just wanted to show you the formatting options. There are most of the things what we discussed is already there. Write statement here. What is the right syntax? Then if you want to put a horizontal line, vertical line, we have not yet discussed. We will discuss this in the next class. If you want to print a blank line, skip we have discussed. And then left justified, right justified, no gaps, no zero, no sign, something like that. So there are some keywords which we have already discussed. For some we have not discussed, but there are some examples. Here you can see, you can try to make use of the same syntax. Whatever I have written here, try to make use of the same syntax in your ABAP editor. You can easily make out the differences. So we have formatting options, and then we have something called conditional statements, something like if, else if, case statements and looping statements. Then string operations, something like concatenate, split, condense, all this stuff what we discussed today. Today we'll stop here, and tomorrow we'll start once again with system variables, and then we will also discuss about something called structure, something called work areas. Slowly we'll go into internal tables and explore more details. Okay, so we'll stop for today, then we'll continue tomorrow.